Hello, everyone. I am relaxing. I'm sitting in the automobile. As you can see, I got a roof over my head. And sitting here today thinking about the opportunities that we have to be deceived. Everybody has an opportunity to be deceived. That's tricked. That means led astray. That means, you go the wrong way. And people have been confused about some things, and I would like to try to bring a little understanding to you today concerning certain elements or facts. That's what an element here in this case. The facts. The facts according to a Bible. How many of you are familiar with the word Bible? The Bible is a 66, most of the time, 66 book. Yeah, that means there's 66 books in the book called Bible. And if you have one, you can open it to the first of the book, and you can see where God created. And God did not create everything that you see that God created. It was good. I mean, whatever God created, it was good. He didn't create it bad. Now, he did come to the time that he made a man out of some dust. And that man made out of dust, he's known as Adam. And Adam, in whatever they've told me, Adam refers, if you think about Adam, you just think about man. And then you think about what happened to Adam. God put him to sleep and took a piece of Adam. And when God got through, there was a woman. Now, God had done an amazing thing there when he made this woman out of Adam's, part of Adam's anatomy. But needless to say, God had made the woman. And the woman and the man were in a garden, and things were going pretty good until Eve decided to eat something by which they would become wise. And she did. She ate, and Adam was given some also. And Adam and Eve became like God, knowing good and evil. Now, some way or another, people today think that Adam became a sinner at that point. But there's no indication of that if you will read to see what God said. Because when God came to speak and was, wanted to visit with Adam in the cool of the day, he couldn't find Adam. So he called for Adam. And Adam probably reluctantly came out, and Eve was with him. And that's when God noticed that they had put on some leaves. In other words, they'd taken something and tried to cover themselves, more or less. And but anyway, God asked Adam, some questions, and then God asked Eve, and got some information, and then God had a conversation with the one who had talked to Eve about eating something that she shouldn't have eaten, because God had already made it clear what would happen if they ate from that tree. But anyway, they ate, they became like God, knowing good and evil. Now that's very plainly written in the chapter there. After God talks to Adam and Eve, and the one that's called the crafty one, or the serpent, or the one that God cursed, because God said, "Cursed are you more than." So the one that got cursed more than. But God made some garments for Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve wore those garments that God made for them. I don't know how long that they could have, worn those garments, but it could have been for a long time. But God told Eve, after that happened, that she would have children, and that Adam would rule over her, and that she would have pain when she gave birth to children. And I'm sure that after that, Adam and Eve had never had sexual relations until after God told Eve what she needed to know about Adam and childbirth. And anyway, Adam had relations with his wife, and she gave birth to a couple of sons, and their names, Cain and Abel. Now, there's no indication at all that Adam and Eve are sinners. Adam and Eve are not called sinners by God. God never says anything to Adam and Eve about them being sinners. But Cain and Abel, they got a few years on them. And Cain and Abel brought something to God. And Cain got upset, and he wasn't happy. And God told him, you can read what God told him, and he told him that sin was at the door and that he should master it, which didn't mean get good at it. That's God, what he told Cain was sin was at the door, and sin wants you to do something that you shouldn't do. But Cain killed his brother, and wouldn't you know it, not long after, him killing his brother, God comes and talks to Cain, and God wants to know, where is your brother? And Cain decides to tell God. The reply looks to me like, am I my brother's keeper? Well, you can read and see what happened. because God said some things to Cain, and Cain said some replies, to God. And then if you read that chapter, you will see what happens in the years to follow. You get a whole chapter on Cain, and it goes for a while, because Cain winds up with a wife, and they have children, and then there's some children that have children. But in the meantime, Adam and Eve have gotten back together, and Seth is born. Now, you can find out about Seth if you'll just read the book, start at the first, then you'll see where Seth is born. But you're not going to find that Adam was a sinner, and you're not going to find that anybody has, just automatically obtained sinnership or the title of sinner. But Cain did sin. He killed his brother, and God dealt with him. And then Cain, you can read about it, and then you can see Seth was born, and then some other children are born. And no telling how many children Adam and Eve had, in their 900 years together. But Adam was it says he was so many years old when Seth was born. But things didn't go too good, and people got to being real bad. And I don't think God blamed Adam for it at all. But things got so bad that God did decide that the best thing for him to do would be to kill everything on the earth, animals, trees, people, and whatnot. And that's why he told Noah to build a boat called an ark. And as soon as he got it built, God brought the water on the earth. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this.